Happy morning, students. So today we're going to start a new chapter. So our unit name is diversity in living organisms. In that first we're going to see the first chapter, the living world. What is living world? It comprises an amazing diversity of living organisms. That all present day living organisms are related to each other and also to the organisms that ever lived on this earth. Was a revelation which humbled man and led to cultural movement for conservation of biodiversity. So in your class 11 standard, the term living world in this chapter, you're going to discuss brief about the growth, which the living organism grow in mass and number. A multicellular organism increases mass by cell division, and these are the key points we were going to discuss in brief in this chapter. Life is a unique, complex organization of molecules that expresses itself through chemical reaction, which lead to growth, development, responsiveness, adaptation, and reproduction. So the object exhibiting growth, development, reproduction, respiration, responsiveness, and other characteristics of life are designated as living beings. So if you are the living being, so you should have the following characters. Following reactions ought to be followed are the growth, development, responsiveness, adaptation, reproduction. Once all these characters are in response, so that the term we refer to are living beings. So that is alive. Living things. So the living things are the things that are alive. So living things are biotic component, right? So they need food, water, and air to stay alive. They have the ability to reproduce or give birth, grow, and change on their own and respond to changes in environment. So the example will be animal and plant. So what is non-living things? So the non-living things are abiotic components, and these are the things that were once alive or have never been alive. These things do not need food, water, and air. These things do not have the ability to reproduce or give birth, grow, and change on their own or respond. So this will be the opposite to living things. So here the example will be wood. So examples for living things and non-living things I just placed here. So you just have a note. So the characteristic of life. So we studied what is life. So what in all the characters, future, what we going to follow in life. So let us see one by one. There are 7 characteristics of living things. They are movement, reproduction, sensitivity, nutrition, excretion, respiration, growth. Now we see each one by one. What is movement? Animal moves to find food and keep away from predator. Plant move to face the light. So this will be the movement which can be seen in fauna and flora. Fauna were in search of food, so the movement have been taken place from one place to another. The plant are sessile in nature, that is flora are sessile in nature, but these plants are also move towards the light, towards the gravity, so towards the chemical response. So these we studied in previous class itself, that is in class 10. Now what is reproduction? Reproduction, that is the production of new thing. The ability to produce offspring to keep the species in existence. Sensitivity, like a touch. Responding and reacting to the environment, that is sensitivity, in other words we call stimulus. Nutrition. Animal need food for respiration, plants need mineral from the soil. So we need a food because food gives us energy. Excretion, getting rid of waste. So what in all the material, what in all the food stuff you ate, so that should be comes out, right? That should be expelled out. So we need a process called excretion, that is getting rid of waste. Respiration, turning food into energy. Okay, so the growth in respiration, what happened? There will be the exchange of gases also taken place, right? And in growth, growing larger and stronger. becoming adult size. So the growth stage, which will be followed right from the cell which forms the zygote which gives rise to the embryo which gives rise to the baby which gives rise to a child. Okay, that is the period of childhood days, adolescent and adult, and later period will be your old age. So this how the growth development will be taken place. So these are the 7 characteristic feature of living things. Characteristic of life. When we say life, who have these following characteristic in common? They are: living things are made up of cells. We know the cell is the fundamental unit of all living being. Living thing maintain the internal environment. Living thing pass on the trait. Living thing perform chemical activities, which is known as metabolism. Living thing grow and develop. Living thing respond to a stimulus, and living thing reproduce. So these are the characteristic of life. So as per now we discussed about these terms. Okay, so just have a look in growth and development, energy metabolism, hemostasis, adaptation, response to stimuli, cells, reproduction. Okay, so please make a note. Unique feature of living organisms. So what will be the attribute of living organisms? So the living organisms which have the attributes are growth, nutrition, movement, reproduction, excretion, irritability, respiration, metabolism. So which we are going to discuss in brief about this lesson. In this lesson. What is growth? Living organisms grow in mass and number. A multicellular organism increases mass by cell division. How does the growth taken place? When the cells get divides. So the process of mitosis taken place, right? Yes. In plants, growth continues throughout life in the meristematic area. That is the meristematic tissue which helps to promote the growth in flora. But in animals, the growth occurs to a certain age. So there will be, in animals, there will be like lifespan. Okay, so only the limited lifespans we have. So in that, how the growth occurs. Unicellular organisms also grow by cell division. Living organisms shows internal growth due to addition of materials and formation of cells inside the body. Now, we discuss what is a growth. Okay, so growth, which has the intrinsic property of all living organisms through which they can increase cells both in number and mass. Let us discuss about types of growth. So the types of growth are of 2 types. One is extrinsic and other one is intrinsic. So extrinsic we will see now. A growth in non-living objects are termed as extrinsic. A non-living organisms like mountain, boulder, crystal will also grow, but due to addition of similar material to the outer surface. So for example, if you place a sand, okay, so what happens if you keep on placing the sand on top of the soil, what happens? It will grow. So that improvement of growing is called extrinsic. Intrinsic. Living cells grow by the addition of new protoplasm within the cells. Therefore, growth in living things is intrinsic. In unicellular organisms like bacteria and amoeba, growth occurs by cell division, the process called mitosis, and such cell divisions also lead to the growth of their population. Hence, growth and reproduction are mutually inclusive events. Now we discuss about cellular structure. So what is cell? The definition of cell. Cell is the fundamental unit of all living organism. So it is coined by Robert Hooke. So these are we studied in class 9 itself. So all living organisms are made up of cells which may be prokaryotic or eukaryotic. So the term prokaryotic refers to the pro, it means prime. Karyotic, it means nucleus. In the term eukaryotic, U refers to true and karyotic nucleus. So true nucleus. That is the prokaryotic is primitive nucleus and eukaryotic is true nucleus. So the prokaryotes are unicellular, lack membrane, bound nuclei, and organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi bodies, and so on. So in prokaryote, what happened? There will be a nucleus is present, but there will be like no membrane bound nuclei and nucleolus are absent. And there is the absence of a membrane like and organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi body, and so on. So the example will be bacteria and blue-green algae. Now we see in eukaryotes. Eukaryotes is a definite nucleus, that is a true nucleus which is found in the cells. The membrane bound organelles are present. Each cells are categorized into the outer layer and inner layer, and inside the layer there will be the dense cytoplasm which is present, and inside the cytoplasm there is an organelles like endoplasmic reticulum, mitochondria, Golgi body, vacuoles are present. So the eukaryotes may be unicellular or multicellular.